see, I got the head gasket on, or it's all clean. I'm gonna get my gasket. We're gonna put it in place and see if we can pop the head on.
Gasket lay down in there, and you can look down here. You got this weird steam hole kind of thing, so you make sure that that's clean. And we're gonna put our gasket in place and get it ready for the head. The exhaust will not move up unless I loosen the bolt on the bottom, so I'm going to have to do that a little bit later. As you can see, our lifters look a little different than our old ones because they're brand new. They came with the kit, and we're going to make sure our bolt holes for our head bolts are all clean. There's no washers, so we're going to go ahead and put our new bolts in there after they've been greased.
So when you're putting new bolts in, you want to make sure you lube them really good. Put the washers on the ends. Like this one. That's already been made. And we're just going to put it in the hole. I have to put the washer in, then the bolt. Put the washer in, then the bolt. And do vice versa again. These are torque to yield bolts, so all these are tightened to 26 foot-pounds, and I have to go 90 degrees, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You do that order, and do additional 90 degrees, and then you release it, and then you do 26 foot-pounds again, and then you do 90 degrees again. So that's what I'm doing. I've already done 90 here, going to 3, and let's see what happens. There's 90. So we gotta do that a bajillion more times. So I've backed all my bolts off just where they barely come loose, and then we have to retighten everything back to 26 foot-pounds. Starting here in the middle again, and do it again. So you want to loosen the same way you tightened. So go back to 26 foot-pounds. So head is torqued. So now got my gasket here for my exhaust. So I put this all over my stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and lay my cams in there, and just see if I can reuse my chain or not. As you can see, there's 2 plated links here. They line up with that dot there, and there's 1 plated link here, and that lines up with the dot on this side. So you have to line them up, then put them into place. Okay. So as you can see, double plated, single plated, and your marks are lined up. So I think they're where they're supposed to be. I'm going to go ahead and put my caps on, torque those down, and see how much slack I have in my chain. Because right now there's a little bit of slack. So let's see if it gets any better. So I went ahead and I pushed my cam seal in here, just for mock-up, so I know where it's in there and I don't forget about it. I'm going to put the rest of my stuff. So it's tightened up quite a bit, so I'm just going to go ahead and sally forth here and just keep putting it back together. So you just got to torque all these to, I think it's 10 foot-pounds. Yeah, 10 foot-pounds. And we're going to do all that. So I went ahead and I've put my gasket here, and I'm going to lift up my thing here, line up like I'm supposed to, get it into place, slide on, put my 2 nuts there, tighten her down. So I went ahead and I put new hose clamps here on my hoses here, and my vacuum hoses. Just really use these little clamps because they're not important, because the vacuum hose pops off.
So I like taking RTV and putting it in the corners here, and then it's half moon here. I like, when I put it in, there's RTV on the bottom. I like putting RTV on the top. So anywhere where there's like going to be a corner, I put a little bit of RTV so that the gasket is going to mate up and no oil is going to leak out. Also around here at the edge where you have the circle spacer, this guy here, put RTV on the top of it too, just to make sure that everything's happy. On this part here, I kind of did it backwards. What you want to do is you want to put your cap in and then put your cap in the back in after you get your bearing cap tight. Then you want to put your little rubber guy in there. So I ended up taking this off. So like I said, in this step I put RTV on the edge of the cam stuff, and it makes it nice. So in order to get my valve cover back into place, I had to take my throttle plate off, and in the gasket set, with my head gasket set, they give you a new gasket. So that way I was able to get back in there without hurting my gasket. And you just want to make sure you get all this gasket around the spark plug tube seals, and that they don't get caught and torn and broken.
Got this cleaned, I got this back on. Took this off to get the valve cover in. Got this in place. Then we gotta take this, and we're gonna glue it onto our thermostat housing with our new thermostat in place down here, and suck it on there, and then go ahead and start putting some of this stuff back on. So we're going after exhaust. We gotta get these bolts down here loose. This is 17. This is 17. Hopefully this will loosen it up so I can get my manifold back on. So with the bracket bolt on the bottom loose, we're able to get this, slide this into place, and put our 12s and our washers back on here and tighten that up. Well, with the nuts in place, we're gonna tighten everything up now. As you can see, this is the reason why the head gasket blew. So we're going to take this fan off, 2 10s, 2 10s, 2 10s, 10, 10, and the radiator should come out after we get our clamps down here on our radiator lines. So we'll see what happens. Pretty simple after you get your connectors there and there. It raises out, and we're gonna go ahead and take these lines off here, and then it'll be done. We just gotta take these fans off here and transfer over to our new radiator. So fans are gone. This is loose, so we're gonna take this out and transfer it over. All right, so I got the fans back into place. All my bolts are there, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put this back.
Sorry for jumping around like crazy, but now we're on our cam sprocket. I want to make sure that this hole is lined up with our mark, as you can see, and now we can go ahead and put our belt on.
The biggest pain in this whole process is getting this in here. So I got a couple threads, and I started on this side, and I took a screwdriver. You can see my marks where they skid, and I was able to pry it over and tighten this down a little bit because it's right there on the edge. There's only one way the spring will go on. You put it the other way, it'll pop off every time, and you don't want that when you're having a timing belt. So right now I got it in place. I've tensioned it with my other screwdriver there and tightened this down. So I'm gonna get my belt on there. Once I get my belt on there, then I'll let that loose and we'll see what happens.
So when you do the belt tension, you want to make sure that all the slack is on the tensioner side. Then you want to torque your tensioner down to a specified torque. You want to make sure that your cam hole is lined up with your cam mark and that your crank mark is lined up on the bottom, because if it's off even half a tooth sometimes, it can cause your cam crank correlation code to come back.
Yep, I'm getting my bracket in here. There's a 14, 2 14s here. There's a nut that goes in place. Get this all tight. We're gonna come up from the bottom. We're gonna put this cover back on, because I got my mount back on. Put this up in place. There we go. And don't forget the little cover that goes over this after all this, and then your crank. So put this QA on thing there, put this on here, and I'll get it on there, and I torque this to spec. After I get this bracket back in place, I'm gonna go ahead and slap my power steering back in place. Slap me. Get all the bolts back where they're supposed to be. We have that through bolt that went through the back. Got this back in place. This is loose, so I'm gonna get my power steering belt on, then my AC belt, then my alternator belt, I do believe. So I misspoke. It's the AC one first, then the alternator. So I'm just tightening this up.
Go ahead and tighten your mount bolts. So I got my thermostat gasket, my new gasket, and my new thermostat, and I'm putting some RTV on there so that I know it's not going to leak.
Okay, this is in place. Got this hose here. It's underneath. You can feel the hose right there. That's where it goes. Got to take this clamp off. So after that, I got my bracket here. There's a nut here. And there's a 12 bolt over here. And there's another nut right I think there's two. Yeah, there's one right there too. Get those off. Tighten this down. Then we're gonna put our new wires on. Put our air box on. Make sure all the connectors are connected. Add coolant, and then we're gonna start it. So we're getting close.
Howdy fixers, so I just got done washing the car. You'll see that in a future video, but we're about to take the car on its maiden voyage home. So let's listen. Uh-oh. Howdy fixers, so that's how part 3 happened. So at the end there, I had some issues where I took over the car wash, I pooped out, and there's going to be a separate video of me doing some interior cleaning and stuff like that. But some electrical things have happened to it. So it's either a sensor, computer, and I'm going to make another separate video, and we're just going to kind of go through the steps of trying to figure out what's going on if something's not working like it's supposed to. So if you like that, just stay tuned for the next video. If you have any questions or anything like that, just comment down below, and always willing to ask and answer any questions. So hopefully you found this entertaining. Also, this is not a step-by-step process, so I may have missed some things, so don't hold me accountable for any of this stuff, because, you know, best person for information is yourself, and trying to find your information and go to like a dealership or something like that and find the best information. So this is just for entertainment. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.